Freak Out Friday. Hey, welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles Hanging in the Garage. I am a garage shop mechanic and it is Friday, and most mechanics usually kind of freak out a little on Friday because those promises that they promised all week long come to a head because those who are riding on the weekend want to pick up their stuff today. Well, that's one many laters of the Friday Freak Out, or Friday Freak Out Friday. In any case, this is installment number 3, and we will see this will continue because this is a bike mechanic trying to do YouTube. I do have a couple bikes, or a bike and a project behind me, so as I'm talking about the state of the state, I'm actually going to be working on bikes as well. But hey, shout out to all you. Thank you for hanging out with me in the garage, and you made it through the week, and we're going to head into the weekend, and hopefully everybody has a good weekend ahead for either fun plans, hopefully including cycling and not working too much or too hard. But in any case, here we're at it. And right behind me is I got a beautiful Townie from Electra Bikes. Not electric bikes, Electra. They are a cruiser line that are currently owned by Trek, and they were based out of California originally for some cool cruisers. And this is the Townie, which is a kind of like a kickback cruiser style where you can sit, pedal, and since the pedals are forward position, you can actually step on the ground without teetering too much. So definitely a cruiser style. Customer locally to my neck of the woods decided to walk the bike over and have me fix it. Yeah, fixing a flat on this was, they've had some problematic issues before with other shops and so forth. So he really wanted me to kind of give it a really good look-see. And on the rear tire, already fixed, or the tube, it had a puncture on the inside of the tube positioning, and it was on the opposite side of the valve, about 20 degrees either direction. I couldn't find anything specific on that particular flat, but I did put another layer of rim tape, Velox rim tape, to buff that protected area just in case this happens again. Can't tell if the cut in the tube is either caused by a pinch by installing or a valve, or actually a vent hole within the rim itself during manufacturing. But I put another rim tape on there, and it seems to be holding fine. Pumped it up to 60 psi, which is the top range. Even though you may ride at a lower pressure, I start at the top range, so make sure it seats and sets. But after that, he also wanted a drivetrain clean with wax chain. So this was pretty much a really sticky hot mess. It looked like motor oil was put on it. So it took quite a bit of cleaning to get the derailleur's crank and the current chain, and we put a nice wax coating on it. Waxing is not just for all those racers out there. Wax chains are actually really good for all cyclists because this makes it super clean, it makes it super smooth, and it lengthens the life of the componentry. That's really, most of us all really need to know. But if you're really into it, he's going to get an extra 5 to 6 extra watts of power out of pedaling. So test riding was pretty good. Well, as all mechanics, we try to double check things, make sure I did take the wheel off to be able to get the cassette off. I did kind of go through the wheel also to fix the flat, and I kind of touched it up on the train stand when I was putting the rim tape on there. Also adjusted the brakes and made sure everything's good. Another layer problem on this bike was the cable. I mean, when you take this off, you have to take the cable out, and the housing itself was compromised, right? So it's like, okay, I'll go a little extra effort and put an extra piece of housing on there just to make sure it shifts good and reinstall. And as I was taking the cable out, the cable was just, it was rusted in some spots and so forth. Like, okay, this goes down a further rabbit hole, replacing the cable itself on this particular one. Well, the cable and housing with a Shimano grip shift style, it took a little hot minute, but I got it all there, and it shifts like butter. That's what's really cool about this, because the rear drivetrain on these, even though they're so long, and you almost have to take 2 chains to accommodate that, and in such a distance for the cables and housing for it to manipulate the actual shifter and derailleur, it actually works really good. It was a nice elevated kind of piece to it. But as I'm standing here talking to a customer picking up another bike last night, I just finished this one and set it aside. I was about ready to notify the customer, like, your bike is ready. And this was later in the evening, well, towards the evening, so into my day of working. All of a sudden I hear this, and I was like, you gotta be kidding. And I have a pile of bikes over here, so I'm like, which one is that? Well, luckily enough, it wasn't the bike that was being picked up, because that would have been kind of awkward. But this one, the front tire on this guy decided to go dead. And, I aired it up too, because, I want to make sure their match pressure and so forth. That was at 20 PSI, so I figured to get it up to 50 PSI or 60 PSI. And apparently, that was the fail point of the tube. So we're going to take a look at that tube and see what the hell, it was the same as like this one on the rear, or is a completely different animal of problems. And this is a good topic because a lot of people deal with flats, because if you have a bike, there's a good chance at some point you're going to have to deal with this too. So in any case, we're talking about tubes and flats at the beginning of this segment of Freak Out Friday. And without changing my position here, we're going to bring you the sponsor of today's show is a great company that deals with wheels.
Jacksonville Wheel Warehouse in California has an excellent selection of wheels to choose from. They're pre-built, or also you can have them custom built up to various sizes. You can reach out to them directly if you have something unique like the 650 wheel or a different style hub. Therefore, it makes it an excellent bike wheel set company that actually provides good wheel sets without breaking the bank. You will find them being very trusted and true. They really hold up under a lot of different riding conditions and so forth. It takes the standard old school wheel building practices and puts them in a better format. But in any case, this is a wheel set you'll be really love to have. It'll perform for you for a long period of time, and the quality and the attention to detail is superb. You'll find information about this company in the description below, with also my personal coupon code. I hope you find a good wheel set where it works for you.
Alrighty. I had to switch position on the camera, and hopefully you can see pretty well. Just want to kind of show how you take these wheels off. If you're all with disc brakes now, this is an old school linear pull brake, so we're going to pull that open and do the quick release to free this wheel from its position. So we're going to take that off like so, and then we're going to try to figure out what causes flat. So I'm going to give you a little earthquake moment and position you where you can probably see my shop a little bit better here. There we go. So this is a 26-incher, and excuse the mess because I was in the middle of another project of getting parts off of the Schwinn and getting them cleaned up. But clear yourself a space. Oh, spokes that are going to a hunt wheel. That's the second project. Most likely be talking about. So we got a cool little valve here, dice. Take this guy off. And I do need to move my laptop and coffee. Sorry. So I can actually see you guys when you're jibber jabber in chat. All right, so a couple topics are going on this week. One that really kind of intrigued me was from Go Guava channel. I'll put a link in the description later. They have a channel, they're out of Pennsylvania, and they do a lot of e-bike stuff and what have you, but he does have a pretty good pulse on what's going on in his market, even though he's only been in a bike shop for a year and a half, and he's trying to figure out what to do in the state and going into the fall and winter here. And in that particular video, and I really suggest you watch it, it kind of reminds me of the corporate days of inventory. And he did talk about inventory, and that I really wanted to bring a light what you know, what shops are faced with, and as a consumer, and I want to do the consumer perspective first. I have to grab my pump. Sorry, I'm out of screen. So, as a consumer, we're going into Black Friday within 2 weeks from now, right? So Black Friday, woo, all the big sales and everything. Sometimes really not a big selling point for bike shops, because for them, for us here, where it's going into the fall and winter, it's not our season. And that being said, it is, you know, not a lot of sales are going on, but whatever sales you do have, you really need to capitalize to keep you getting through the wintertime. Wow, this is like vulcanized to the actual tire itself. In any case, this thing blew out. Back to the tire here real quick. You want to inflate it a little bit and mark it. Keep an eye of where the flat may have occurred. So I opened this guy up and it made some noise right off the bat. So this should be pretty easy to identify where the leak is. I hear it. No, it's right here. Kind of the same spot on the other one. You can hear that, a little hiss. That's the mechanic's nightmare. And I'm looking at the inside of the tire and it's all like ruffled up and stuff. So since it's on the inside, that means it's in the rim bed. It's where the problem is. Not actually ran over something on the test ride. And this is taking its sweet time trying to get this out. Woo, she's sticky. Okay, there we go. All right, so we got the tire. Set that aside. We identified the leak was, and it's 2695, so that's the right tube. The rear one had a whole bunch of sealant in it, slime. So cross-identifying the rim, and whoa, look at that rim bed. I mean, that's a valley, right? Can you see that? It's usually a dual cavity where the cavity would be a little bit higher up, and this is not, and it's using a rubber rim tape. Well, what is happening on this particular type of rim, it's pushing the tube in so deep, so it's actually adding another stress point of that tube, instead of being flush, because the tube is round, right? This actually gives it a bend, and looking at it, it's causing some stress. And the rim tape, this is a rubber rim tape, is probably caused or failed at some point. Well, to get rim tape out, or rubber on this one, it's easier to find the valve hole and then just pop it like so. So that's where we're exposing the spoke nipples, which this will actually cut tires too on these, or tubes. So we're going to put some better Velox rim tape on this and see if we can get it to not be problematic. And what probably happened is the rim tape, the rubber gets old and it starts compromising. Yep, I think that's it. Starting to, I don't know if you can see it. There's a hole here. That's where that tube fell right into the spoke nipple, and when you're talking 60 psi per square inch, that's problematic. I always prefer the cloth tape on that, so that's what works. Okay, back to a little drafty. Back to inventory and people buying stuff. Because your Black Friday's coming up and you got inventory, a lot of shops, a lot of businesses are doing a whole bunch of sales right now and are trying to sell anything. Well, the whole state of everything being disrupted so much that inventory is honestly really wonky. hopefully I'm still within your screen. Trying to, yeah, this YouTuber trying to, or a bike mechanic trying to do YouTube, trying to square up so you can at least see what I'm doing over here somewhat. I have the monster roll of Velox rim tape. This stuff is the great stuff for all the old stuff. So talking about inventory, a lot of bike shops, a lot of companies in general, they are working very hard to sell anything at this point. And the market and the economy and everything else in between has developed a lot of challenges. So a lot of those companies are looking to discount or drive sales or loss leaders, and with weird inventory adjustments going into the holiday, because typically a lot of companies would bring in a lot of inventory to accommodate for Black Friday sales and so forth. And this is tricky because I got to get this tape to fall in the valley of the rim just right so it doesn't shift or fold over. Once it's in there, it'll be fine. But in any case, so with that inventory question, but need to sell anything, but you'll find there might be a lot of sales, and actually there might be, if you're looking bigger ticket items, you might want to ask for that sale. Like contact the company directly and say, hey, what's your best price on this? They may work with you to some level. Oh, man, get in there. This is where I need the skinnier Velox, but I don't want it too skinny. In any case, that's what we're dealing with. On the consumer side, it's going to be able to see some deals, but here's the thing. Everybody's shooting Black Friday sales early, and they're trying to beat everybody else out of the gate because not everybody has a lot of funds or whatever to buy stuff this the holiday season. So they're trying to get in early, right? And here's the bit is, since the inventory is wonky, I would highly suggest, if you're especially looking for a bike for yourself or a family member for Christmas to put underneath the tree, I would highly recommend you purchase that within this week, if not next, or over this weekend, regardless of the sale, because, or maybe the sale will be available, because it might not be there. So if you're looking for that one hot ticket item, that's going to be the tricky bit. Or whatever product you're looking at. And, I have Amazon links also below. And also, there's a company called Medum, which I work with too. And they do lower end price point bikes for entry level. I still believe they offer free shipping. So you want to get those, especially if it's a bike and, something that you're putting together. You definitely want to get it in sooner than later. Get it assembled and double checked by either assembled by yourself or a bike mechanic to double check it. Because you want to make sure that bike is solid and ready to go underneath the tree. And what I found on some direct from consumer sales, some things do definitely need to be double checked for safety. Even they're known, like Canyon, Trek, and Specialized, I still would have those double checked, because I found some things even from the local corporate stores that, like, they're cutting corners. Let's just put it that way. And you want those corners to be covered to have the best experience possible on Christmas Day, or, my daughter's birthday is in between there too, so I got a sandwich situation there. So there lies that. So back to the tube or tire. Got that tape in there, and hopefully that'll support that tube that folds up inside there. So, being, a consumer society within the States, looking to buy something, this is probably the time to get it. If you're just going to shop and browse and see what you're going to see, like, move stuff around, poke out a little bit, yeah, then wait for Black Friday. But if you're thinking about a bigger ticket item, especially a bicycle, that is something that you always want to, unfortunately, is not a procrastinator's benefit by any means whatsoever. So if you're not taking forward thinking on that, you might find yourself in a whole world of hurt, not getting the right bike, the right color, all those things may be part of all that. So, okay. So this is before tubeless systems. We used to buy this by the 5-gallon bucket. Slime. Because in our neck of the woods, there's these little stickers called goat heads. And however they sit, they look like a little goat head, but they have 2 prongs. And however they sit on the ground, one's sticking up. So, Tuffy liners and slime, TR tubes, all that. So this is when life used to get really messy for a lot of mechanics. Now it's gotten even worse with tubeless systems. So that, the sans tubeless stuff makes this look like a pussycat kind of environment. Because it's all contained, mostly, until it sprays and blows up in your face. Or a tire blows up while in a touring stand and has sealant in it, which has happened to me before. Typically it's 4 ounces per tube. And this guy already had sealant in the original tube, so I'm just going to be forward thinking and do the same for him for the other tube here. So in any case, so back to inventory and what might be available, what may not be available, that kind of thing. What's going to sell? What's a super sale? That kind of deal. When you're looking at the cycling industry, I'm going to share a couple of gold nuggets or insider information, right? So margins on bikes are not very deep unless it's, you guessed it, corporate owned. So if it's a Trek corporate store or specialized corporate store or Pond Holdings, which is Mike's Bikes, they're going to have a little bit deeper margin, even though they play like they don't, but they do. Because when you're buying volume from, if you're an independent bike dealer, you're buying volume, there's several different tiers. And if you're the Uber tier, you get the best price possible. But even then, that, corporate has even a lower price. They're still making a percentage. So, but typically, independent bike dealers, if they're lucky, get 25 to 30% margin. So there's not very much wiggle room there, unless they bought it on a special buy where that manufacturer is just dumping the price. Nobody's dumping their inventory right now because there's a scare of maybe not having inventory coming up. So they're going to be reluctant, but they still need to drive sales. So you're still going to see sales. So if you see a sale on a bike that's over 30%, that's a pretty good deal. Go ahead and do it. If it's even more than that, even better. Because they're really just kind of flushing out and trying to get basically running capital. So that's on the actual bikes, not much margin. Where a lot of bike shops used to, but not as much anymore, made more of their money on parts and accessories. Like you're looking at tubes and tires, rims, wheels, all those other good things. Well, that being said, that's a little bit deeper margin. It used to be what they call keystone, which is double. You buy it for $1, you sell it for $2. Easy math, but that has been eroded over time, and the costs have gone up, and especially the weirdness that we're in right now, that margin is not as much. But if you do find something that's at 35 to 40%, buy it. Because I don't think you're going to get any lower price point on that. If you see something you want to buy, and it's not on sale or deep enough sale or what have you, contact the company directly. See if they'll be willing to go down. You never know. You just ask and be polite about it. Don't be a jerk by any means. But there eludes that. So this tire has a decal from Electra. That's where I like to put the valve core so I can triangulate if there's any flat issues. These are directional. So this is the forward. Did I do it right on another one? Yeah, forward direction. And it is quick release, so, okay, you got to think here. Drive side, forward direction, decal, valve hole. There we go. I'm glad this actually blew out in my shop. Not that I can, charge him more money. That's not really the thing. It, for me, is this actually prevents him from having a flat out on the trail and having to walk it home. And he had a story about walking home like 5 miles, carrying a 35, 40-pound bike, walking it. It was a nice walk. He tried to spin it being, positive, that kind of thing. So there we go. We got it set in there, Velux tape in place. Going to air it up to pressure. So yeah, looking at bike stuff specific, yeah, 40. But if you're looking like on Amazon type stuff, you may have a little bit deeper margins there, deeper sales. They may have some what they call loss leaders, which basically they really discount it. Those are like the loss leader black door busters, they would do. So Amazon, Walmart, they're freaking out. I mean, they have to be because, their sales have been soft the last few. Amazon, big sales, summer sale and all that, pretty flat for the most part. So they're really trying to drive some business this holiday season. So you put some pressure in the tire and then you double check the bead. Make sure it doesn't blow out on you so you don't get green stuff all over you, the wall, the counter, the ceiling, all those good things. I can't get a valve core on there. So I'm at 20 PSI. Get up to about 40. So it's on a load bearing wheel. It's up front, so it's steering. So, okay. Just wanted to hold air. Hold air, buddy. You can do it. All right. So yeah, buying a bike to be underneath the tree, get it in, delivered, fine-tuned and all that. Definitely do it this week. Looking for accessories and stuff. If you're looking for that special micro pump that they've been eyeing on, either like one of those Silco ones or whatever brand, get it now because it may not be there later. Inventory is really squirrely right now, so that's the other caveat. You might, try to find the sale, trying to find the item, and you're good to go. So that's kind of like the consumer, and that's if you have income or credit line to accommodate those kinds of things. But in any case, that's where we're sitting at. And as a consumer, I know it's 2 weeks away, but it might be a little less stressful if you get it ahead of time and get everything kind of squared away and all that. So let's install this without breaking anything else. All right, so this thing is a beast. It does have surface rust on it. It came from Long Beach, California. So he said he has quite a few other bikes, so I'm hoping they're in a little bit better shape as in exposed to salt water. Okay. Whoop, get that on there. And double check the brake. Voila! We're fixed. I'll let that sit for a little bit. I don't, maybe take for another test ride after the stream here, making sure it's good because I don't want him to have that bad taste in his mouth like he has with other shops where he took it and done got a flat. So I'm going to make sure it's well to go. He's in no rush. He has several other bikes, so even if it's tomorrow or the next day, we're good to go. So if you give your mechanic extra time to get things done and done right, they can let things settle. I like doing that with tubeless tires anyway. I'll set them the day before, but I won't contact the customer until like a day later to make sure it seats and holds pressure, because you don't want that dumb thing to burp or whatever and go flat on them, because that's just, it's not a win-win. I mean, like the customer has a bad experience and then you look poorly upon that. So it's always better to put yourself in the best scenario possible and tell people that, like, I'll let it sit for a day just to make sure it's good here, because you don't want to have that failing on your ride. So cool, right? Yeah, any case. Oh, what direction am I going? Oh, there's Bob the bike rep. He's getting ready for the weekend, reading up on his bicycle retailer articles and so forth. But yeah, I'm going to put you back over here, because we got the second project. So that's going to sit and simmer, stewish, whatever, that kind of thing. Sorry about the lighting. It's not really that bright out today. It's kind of cloudcast. So I'm going to do a little cleanup here. So that is, the perspective of the consumer, and the perspective of the consumer in the market, and you got to be mindful of it as a bike shop owner or a retailer by any means, because you don't want to insult or miss the mark or what have you. So where we're at is, uncertain times, and a lot of people are still wanting to have Christmas, and the government did open up, but we're still seeing stuff like that. So nothing political about that at all, but we're hoping to feel a little more warm and fuzzy and have a great holiday season. Sales as well as supporting our families and so forth, and any retail establishment, right? In any case, yeah, early is better and be more prepared. I know that's hard because my whole family are procrastinators, including myself, to some level, and that's where we're at. So, in any case, all right, I'm going to do a couple shout outs while I took the time. Oh, man, we're already 32 minutes into this. So, yeah, 30 minutes to fix a flat. That's not a record for me whatsoever. Susan, thank you for chiming in. Yeah, you're up north there. Let's see. I have to bring you in closer, so I can read these. E-bike, diagnosis low tire pressure. You see more snake bite flats from riders. Oh, my thing shifted on me. The low pressure because they don't notice that the rolling resistance due to the power of the motor. Yeah, snake bite is when the tube and tire, should have shown that, the tube gets sucked underneath that bead of the tire and it cuts it. We used to get a lot of those during mountain biking. We lower pressure too low on the tire to get better traction, and you hit something and it caused that snake bite. That's why we're all doing the tubeless. The creation of tubeless was from that, or various other reasons. But yeah, double check that's part of your ABCs when you go for a ride. Yeah. A is air, so check your air pressure. And B is brakes, make sure you can pretty much stop. And C, make sure your shifting and drive chain is good. That might be part of a little test ride around the parking lot or in front of your house before you go for that lengthy ride. Reason being, air pressure lowers down over time, regardless if it's tubeless or whatever Kool-Aid the brand's trying to tell you, it does lose pressure over time. So you want to make sure they're up to the pressure that you want it to be. And second, brakes usually don't have any issues, but you want to double check, and those, the tires are not rubbing and so forth. Let's say if that bike got knocked down by your kids running through the house, and they put it back up and you didn't notice it. And well, maybe the wheel got jarred, it dinged up, and I'm talking about a good knockdown, or it landed on the derailleur side and it bent your derailleur hanging a little bit, that kind of thing. You want to double check that. Don't ever assume, unless you live by yourself and there's no external factors, children, being a factor. You have kids, double check everything every time, because it may be you can keep you from going to the ER. But in any case, yeah, that's part of, but the air pressure thing is something you want to double check every ride for sure. I check it on my bikes every time, all that as well. But good point, great point. Because when you're looking at e-bikes specific, they're heavier. A lot more weight, so you got to have a lot more pressure to hold up and support that. So if you're getting confused with your me bike versus your e-bike, and you put not enough pressure in there, plus they have tires specifically designed, and they're all coming out with those all new products and so forth to help eliminate that. But keep in mind, some of those lower or mid-range bikes that are pushed out use just standard tubes and tires, and you still need to be up at the higher pressure range. So contact your local e-bike expert to help you source through all those issues. Here locally, Josh at Precision E-Bike in Fort Collins. He's been in the e-bike business for over 20 years. He's the guy in our area to talk to help you navigate through all those things. So there's a shout out to Precision E-Bike in Fort Collins. Not prompted, not paid for, just a buddy. I do have a video with him interviewing in a shop too, if you want to check that out in my library. Good morning to you, to 65 bug nut. Bug nut. Hope all is well in your neighborhood. So just heads up, I am trying a dual stream thing. Oh, you can see my reflection in the monitor. And it's streaming vertical and horizontal at the same time, but it looks at it as two different things. I put the chat up on the actual visual, so hopefully if you're watching one stream, you'll see the chat from the other. I'm going to be reviewing that. That was the one I did that on Tuesday. It did something weird, so we got that going on. Legend 813A. Why don't bicycles come with built-in solar panels? Solar panel powered lights. Well, a lot of times, I mean, think about it, when you're not using it at night, you put it in your garage or shed, so the likelihood of that light is not going to be exposed to too much sun. They could, but I think it's like an energy wattage thing. But a good point though. I mean, if they get depending, because they're bringing down the usage of the LEDs and so forth, but that's a good point. But there's also surface area and cleanliness. It's all about aerodynamics too. So that's a good question. I'll have to Google that up and see if they have anything coming out. Yeah, how many lights could it say with built-in headlights and taillights? A lot. Some of us get stuck in the evening, especially this time of year when the sun starts setting. Well, in the northern hemisphere, your individuals down in the south are experiencing something else. But yeah, you get caught a little bit with the time change, the dumb time change here. It'll put you in that evening a little bit faster, and then the dusk and to be seen. It's always a good practice to have even running lights during the day, even on the bike paths. People can see you and not run into you. So the lights are this time of year, very, very important. You'll see a lot of shops, a lot of like corporate stores are selling. It's the time to sell lights and trainers. So that's the prerogative on that. So in any case. So yeah, good questions. Thanks for chiming in and on Freak Out Friday. So I'm going to push this back a little bit and open up my work area. So project number 2. And we're still relating with flats. Well, no, not flats. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff in there. Okay. Fairly new Hunt wheel set within the year. Broken spoke. Bought as an aftermarket wheel set. Luckily, it was given a set of spokes with the purchase of the wheels. I asked him, I was like, is it a defective thing? Well, he was like, well, I was riding somewhere when I probably shouldn't have been riding, which typically spokes don't just break unless it's a over tighten manufacturer issue, or they got hit by something. And I don't see any scarring of anything else on here. And that means, you know what this means? Loose nipple in there with probably a washer. I got to fish it out. Also, guess what? It's tubeless. This makes it even more, adds a layer of complication to it. So I highly doubt I'll be able to get this fixed while we're on air, but I'll start the process. Yeah, so I got to deflate my happy Friday mode. Now, these are no rush either, so if I don't get it done today, it's fine. But I want to at least get started and see where we're at. So if I need to or order something in. So you break a spoke on a tubeless, you basically have to strip the whole tubeless system. Basically take the tape out, redo the tube. It's the whole extra layer of expense. If this was a standard tube and tire that we just saw, I think you just reinstall everything. But this case, you're not. And now I'm hoping for not a hot mess. And where the spoke is missing, I don't know how he got the spoke out of there or where it broke. Maybe it cut where it broke close to the J-bin. I don't have the whole spoke. Obviously, I have the nipple and the washer in there and the rim bed. And once I put this all together, I'm going to really look at it really closely and detail it and inspect everything. And spoke tensions on these are like extremely high. And I'm assuming that's probably because of the, you know, what it is. So yeah, it's going to be a little extra work. Hopefully I don't get a whole soupy mess on my feet because I'm wearing flip-flops. I'm not ready to go for a full shoe yet. It's, you know, holding out. And hopefully it's a rim, tubeless rim tape. Well, not tape, but the kind of like a big plastic thing. That makes it a little bit easier too. We'll see. And when you take these apart, yeah, it's always almost out of liquid. So oddly enough, stinky and sticky. So you don't want that to drip all over you. So we'll set this aside on there. And this is where, you know, try to get to it. So back to retail and inventory and Black Friday. So I worked for a company called Big Five Sporting Goods. It's a sporting good chain. West Coast, west of the Mississippi, over 400 plus stores, known more for like competing against Walmart pricing, that kind of thing. You know, Sports Authority was one of our competitors. Now Dick's Sporting Goods was, as I speak as like I'm still with the company, no longer with the company. But 3 weeks before Black Friday, my supervisor would come in and it would be the time to visit all dead stock inventory. As my friend and colleague, John Bradley, friend of the family, John Bradley, would call it stinky fish. He got that from Wheat Ridge. Kiefel would do orders and ask him when he was at Trek, you got any stinky fish? Stinky fish, low bald pricing, odds and ends, and we take advantage of the discounts and all that. Well, stinky fish for retails, products has been sitting there for a little too long. Okay, inventory 101. You want 3 to 4 turns on your inventory, any category, and probably higher or more consumables. If that product's been sitting there and collecting dust for 6 months, you new bike shop owners or what have you need to discount that and reevaluate if that's something that you want to stock in your store. Because that product that's on your floor is taking up real estate, and that real estate needs to make you money per square foot. So if you're designated to a, for example, a muck-off display, and you hardly ever sell any of the muck-off products on there, time to get rid of that and put something in there that will sell, or at least try something else that you may potentially sell. Because that particular source is going to kill you if you have too much of your square footage not producing to support, you guessed it, rent. So this is the time of year, as you bike shop people, to go through all your items, like walk through the store like a supervisor and go, that's, that package is muffed up, it doesn't look as clean, you're talking about presents here, discount it. Discount it to cost if you need to, because you want to rotate that inventory out to a fresher product that's going to sell, or reduce it, because we're in a weird situation where you got to really evaluate what products you want to be carrying into 2026, and it's going to be more consumables and service related. So pre-wax chains, more bar tape, seats, packs, bottle cages, anything that a service manager, service writer, or somebody from the service department can go on the floor and sell. That's what you're going to need to probably carry in inventory this year. So that's just the tricky bit of everything, unfortunately. And this is the opportunity to reevaluate your inventory. I know it's the end of the season, you're wrecked and tired, and you're not ready for this, but this is where you identify that. And when you run your promotions, you put that stuff up front, more forward, so you can actually move it. Don't have all that expensive stuff up front by the front door. You want somebody to walk in and go, deal, 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 because that's what everybody's going to be looking for this time of season. So Retail 101, discount the stuff, reevaluate your floor space, and all that. You got a couple weeks before the actual D-Day or Black Friday, but that's what you need to be doing. That's what your headset needs to be through Christmas. And then maybe have after Christmas or beginning of the year blowout clearance liquidation kind of thing, whatever hasn't sold or what have you. Because you need to generate enough income for the next month and a half to support you through January and February if you really haven't bankrolled your summer, squirreled some money away for summer, because that's what's going to need to be done. And that's a great opportunity. And Aaron from Go Gravo was mentioning that, like, I'm going to go look through stuff like that. Give a little extra insight on that. Got to go deep on it. Like, really think about it. Did this product really, do we sell any of these? It's just sitting there. Because I can guarantee you, I walk into a lot of shops right now and I can go, that has dust on it. Why is it here? Just because you're trying to fill up a wall? No. No, you want to do a little bit more than that. And you want to have that floor space perform for you. And I have a story about that, and it goes back into the 90s. And we had John Burke coming into our store for the first time. And this was in the 90s, and he was taking up more of a head position at Trek. I mean, our Trek rep was all like nervous, really, because this is the big guy, and our Trek rep was always constantly in trouble and short on numbers or what have you, or maybe that was just the ecosystem of pressure, but finding out later, he was always kind of just in trouble. But in any case, he comes in the door and he walks our store like what I used to deal with supervisors and CEOs of Big Five, and he would pinpoint all those real estate missed opportunities. And at that particular time, he wasn't really friendly per se, and kind of came off as mean, but he did have a point. So getting over like, oh, that guy's a jerk, which he's not, but it's one of those things that's hard to take that grain of salt, and you have to be critical on yourself as a shop owner to be able to improve, right? You just can't just like, oh, that's the way it is, and it is. Go to a big box store. Go to a Big Five or a Dick's Sporting Goods or not Sports Authority, they're gone, or a Shields. Something that's similar but not within your bike shop industry. Walk the store. Look at it. Look what they've been doing for the last month and a half, prepping for Black Friday. You may get some ideas for marketing, for promoting, all those things, because that's they've spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars for their marketing. And you can just walk in and go, oh, that would work great in my shop. Cost you nothing except for a little bit of time. So that I would really suggest doing. Talk to some brands, see if they'll do some discounts for placement or product in your store. So the thing is, you pay per square foot of your store monthly. That has a value. And all these brands right now, they're struggling. So they're fighting for that square foot of representation of their product on your floor. Make them pay for it one way or another. Better pricing, better dating on pricing. It's all about pricing. Products, that kind of thing. Let's put it this way. There's a bike shop, and this was a few years ago, like 10 years ago, and they're in Michigan. All they did was service. And bike companies kept on coming in like, hey, we want you to carry our bikes, whatever, what have you. It's like, nope, not going to carry them, not going to pay for them. So Jameis, one of the brands, and it was Jameis specific, goes, tell you what, we will put our bikes on your floor, and you just pay us when they sell. Alludes to the fact that the real estate of the floor is more valuable than they want you to lead on to. So, case in point, in Big 5 Sporting Goods, that kiosk when you walk in, that was selling real estate. What Big 5 had a bunch of traffic of people coming in and out. They could actually leverage that and went back to, let's say, Coleman and go, hey, you want this space for the month for camping or whatever, it's going to cost you something. I'm not sure what they do. I don't think it was a monetary dollar amount, but it sure was product and discount for sure, because we got a lot of inventory from them. So to be able to get to all this spoke stuff, I have to take the rotor and the cassette off. So this is, it gets in depth, and I'll clean this all up after I'm done, and then I got to figure out what kind of tape this is. As you can probably get here, it's like one of those. It's like is it a rain stick? Toddler toy? What is this? You guys hear that? Oh man, that's called a nightmare. So. Is this the kind that pops in and out? If it's not a tape, but like the plastic inserts, it feels like a tape. I'm just trying to find if there's not that I can reuse it, just wanted to see if there's like an end to the tape. So for those who are in retail, bicycle retail, and you have a shop, and you're stressed out about the industry and all that, there it is. Gold nuggets is right now you need to look at your current inventory. Your inventory is going to change for 2026 because our market has changed quite a bit. And you're going to be leveraging it and leveraging your brands to a point that they're going to be paying for more of your real estate space, because right now they're trying to get any of their products in front of anybody. And that puts you in a better position to leverage those relationships. Don't be mean about it, but just, be very, very thoughtful of what you need to do to make sure you're healthy. And that also provides opportunity for you supporting your community a lot better. Oh, I just cut. Okay. I was like, what happened? So I either may have to order or buy some more. I don't know if I have this width of a tape. And again, I have a great customer base. A lot of them have multiple bikes. So when something fails or needs to be worked on, they are not in a rush. But I will definitely keep some of this tape to measure it. And this is what you can do at home too, to measure it, to make sure it's the right length. And I'm gonna try to do this over the counter because I have loose bits floating around on the rim. And well, one, I want to identify what is still in there and what do I need to get out. So the last thing I want to do is reassemble all this and still be something in there making a whole bunch of noise. Nobody wants a rain stick for a wheel set. And the other question is it going to be extremely hard to get that out? And I was like, dude, this break-in, did you contact the company? This would be something like, I would be like, hey, Hunt, you spoke broke. I was just JRA and it broke. He's a pretty nice guy. He probably did something, it probably fell over or something. They just had a kid too, so who knows what the hell. He's lack of sleep. So this might take a minute or two. Have to fish it out. Also, fishing it out might be a little bit easier on the truing stand, so got to buff that out, put it on there and so forth, in any case. But hey, you know, as a consumer this time of year, yeah, freak out trying to find those, you know, if you're looking for something specific, a brand or a type of something, this is the time probably to buy, especially if it's already on early discount from like Walmart or Amazon or what have you. Yeah, so that goes to this one right here. Shop on Amazon. I do have a Amazon store, like the latest pick, basically, of products that are on sale, that kind of thing, and various other parts and tools and so forth that I suggest using within those particular categories. Check that out. Go through, and even if you don't buy the product that I suggest and you find something else that fits your needs better or your grocery list or whatever you end up buying, I get a little kick. So that's a good opportunity for you to get something and I get something that helps support me doing what I'm doing. Shameless plug for Amazon influencer. Yes, yeah, this is the time of year to look into, okay, yeah, maybe my wife needs a bowling ball bag, you know, the color, you know, those kinds of things might be a really good opportunity, a thought to do it now, because when it comes to Black Friday, those inventories may be really wonky. And yeah, I would really, yeah, if you're looking at a bike that's going to be delivered, what I've seen so far, you want to have that double checked, safety checked by your local mechanic or your good mechanic or yourself, and really go through. Take the wheels off, double check those hubs, double check the true of the wheels, the seating of the tires, making sure the bolts are torqued at the right torque specifications. Make sure the cables are laid out correctly. Make sure the bars and sims and seat and all those are adjusted and tight appropriately with the Newton meter torque wrench. Make sure the drivetrain and everything is working. And then go back to your ABCs. Make sure it's aired up. Make sure it brakes well, especially if it's an e-bike. And make sure it shifts and it's appropriately adjusted. There's a whole bunch of videos on YouTube to be able to identify all those and make sure they're safe to ride. And again, if you're questioning maybe anything, take it to a local bike mechanic to have them take a look at it as a safety check. And maybe they have like a new bike build pricing or that kind of thing. So I would definitely, you know, take your time, because let's say it takes about a week for the bike to show up, depending on UPS or FedEx or whoever's shipping it, to get to your door. And then you have like the timeline for a bike shop to take a look at, or yourself to work on it without anybody knowing. And therefore you want to have that buffer, make sure it's all ready to go. Some shops, if you're buying them from them, will hold it till up to Christmas Eve or something like that. We used to do that back in the day. We put a nice little pretty bow on them. We did sell a fair amount of Christmas bikes, even though it was, you know, winter here in Colorado. But that being said, full bikes, you definitely want to make sure they can get on it and go ride and be safe right out of the gate, right out underneath the tree. I mean, and you want to make sure you don't have that bad experience for that family member or significant other that you're getting a gift for, because you a lot of times you're passionate about cycling and you're trying to get them into it. You don't want to have any barriers to prevent you from them riding with you. So yeah, just to throw that out there. Been there, done that. Yeah, former girlfriend gave her a nice Klein mountain bike and kind of fell flat. Yeah, that's, whatever. Didn't marry her. Anyway, married another wrong person. I'm going to find somebody even worse. Not just kidding. We all have experiences in life and so forth, right? But yeah, so got the one guy going on his Townie Electra. This guy, I'll spend another like 30 minutes or so on it, trying to get that piece out, maybe get the spoke replaced, identify if I needed more tape. I'll either get more tape locally or go out and order some. The tire looks still like in pretty good shape. I don't know what kind of liquid is in there. It's clear. It's clear. So it's like somebody peed inside the tire. I'm not sure what that is, which sealant. Regardless, he's going to get what I got. I don't think he really cares on what sealant's put in there as long as it works. So we got that going. But in any case, but yeah, I mean, I'll chime in. Let me know what you got for plans for the weekend. Any fun stuff? Hopefully some riding in there. Or you're going to be shopping. Oh, crap. Justin told me I have to go buy stuff. Yeah, go buy stuff. Help us all out. Or if you're a bike shop, like, oh, crap, he's right. I need to go through all the things and see what needs to be discounted out and not sitting on my shelf for another year and not making any money for me, when I can bring in other products that will. I'm really thinking that's where consumables are going to be this year. It's just really stuff that goes on the bike, not necessarily very many units of bikes, although there will be some bikes that do sell, but they're going to be more narrow in categories, narrower in pricing, and very limited on quantities. The industry is really weird. They're like, the big manufacturers, all they really have left right now to try to help bolster their market is come up with a 13-speed drivetrain and release that. Dura-Ace, Shimano, coming this summer. Campanelli already has theirs, I believe. Then I think Hughes might be getting a Di2 version. So, I mean, they're going to be, this is when things are hurting and they try to release new stuff to generate more sales. Like, oh, you want this bike that has the new stuff on it. For those who may still have money or feel like they want to have the brand new stuff. There is some level of generating business that way. Case in point, the Checkout full suspension gravel bike, which some people are kind of like, why don't you just get a mountain bike? Or some people are like, that's way cool, but I don't have the money for it. They didn't make very many of them. Probably just enough to fill in the stores. Well, let me take that back. They probably made a lot of them, but they're not in the United States. So they probably got enough in the United States to show and represent, so it doesn't look like they're totally dumb. But I'm sure you'll see a lot more inventory in the European market, South America, and also Australia and New Zealand markets, because we have some issues here. And looking at that bike and multiple things, it is what it is, but in any case. But yeah, it's one of those deals where this is where there's still going to be opportunities for sales, so don't feel like there's not going to be things on sale. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, but if it's a company that provides a contact information, you can reach out and go, hey, can I get a little better pricing on this? And maybe they can help you out in that, especially if it's something that's been sitting there. Because granted, they're on their business side of it too. They're doing all these adjustments of all this product, and they're in a situation along with a lot of bike shops like, it's all about just selling anything at this point. And whatever they have on the floor, it needs to go somewhere other than their floor space, and they need to put in something that's either better terms, better mix of product for their particular business going into 2026. this is maybe an opportunity. I've heard people do that even in years past. They'll like call up Jensen's and go, hey, notice you have this bike, and is there a better price I can get on that particular one? Because they're in the market of selling stuff. So they're all in this situation, and not to gouge them or anything, but you can always politely ask. And maybe they do have a little bit more of a leeway, like, okay, yeah, we have a little more room to move that. Even if you go to the corporate stores, ask the same thing. See if they can come with a little better pricing, especially if it's something specific that you want to get, like brand, size, color, whatever it is. And that doesn't just stick to, that doesn't even stick to the cycling industry. That's all retail. Case in point. Big Five, we've always had last sale price that a lot of times we can give once in a while. They got a little strict about that after I left, but when I was working there, it was pretty much, we were in a market that they were trying to aggressively tap into. Colorado market's horrible. I mean, and it's a great place to live, but it's a very aggressive market because this is everybody's playground, test market, and volume of cash. Case number one, Boulder is one of the biggest cycling communities everywhere, as in dollar amounts and tour activities. That's why it's like, if you can survive in Boulder, your business model is going to survive everywhere else, kind of. But that's where you got the highest performing stores anyway, sporting goods as well as bikes, that kind of thing. So now it's in Colorado, which is the whole Front Range, which is huge outdoor activities. So that being said, you can probably ask. You can always ask. You never know, that kind of thing. Oh, car show, heavy metal cycles, nice. John Cable, Gas, Monkey, Richard, whoa. It's a lot of name dropping there. Oh, yeah, that BMX bikes for kids? Oh. Huh. Oh, yeah, bikes and, there's been a lot of crossover for the auto industry. And bikes, it's kind of hand in hand for a long time. The best one I saw, or we were a truck dealer back in the day, is you bought a Volkswagen Jetta, I think it was, and you got a Trek 930 with a roof rack, and it had a little VW on the bike itself. It was kind of cool. So yeah, there's been always a cross promotion between cars and bikes. Huh, interesting. Yeah, car shows, I mean, they're fun. I've seen a couple of them. We went to one, we were in Michigan, the one in Detroit, with all the, big brands. It's kind of like, bike show, but for public to see cars. It was kind of fun. Absolutely a good thing to do. Keep them busy. You're down in Texas, so I think it'd be nice and warm, if I remember right. But yeah, absolutely. Woo! Oh, what else I got going on? I have this Schwinn, and I'm taking some parts off to clean. I wanted to show this. So, if your headset does something like this on its own and it's possessed, it's like stiff. Whoop. Something gone bad in there. So yeah, that's going to be a headset overhaul. I'm hoping it's just the bearings. Hope the steer tube's not. I just walked by it. I didn't realize it until this morning. I walked by it and did like this weird ghost possessed thing. It's kind of fun. Like, where's it going to release? Oh, there it is. So yeah, something's gone awry there. But in any case, that's a couple projects. I don't do a lot of work on bikes during the weekend. There's family and stuff, of course. I mean, I'll do drop-offs and pickups, that kind of thing, when I have it scheduled for how my business model works. But I'll do some tinkering, but it's usually just sitting and editing videos, whatever. Then we have a bowling league, and we do other fun things. And if it's nice, go for a family ride. And we're going into the season like everybody else is right now, is holidays. So guess what? You're going to be dealing with family and work meetings and work events and birthdays and all that stuff. So pretty much for me, from Halloween till the 7th of January, it's just a colossal mix of events. And you got like Christmas songs from school for the kids and their events and birthdays, and then the wife has her dance thing, and it's like, between that, holiday parties and everything else in between, and New Year's, it's usually a big old and time January hits, I'm like, did I sell anything? Did I work on anything? Did anything happen business-wise? Yeah, it has. It's just slammed in with everything else. So these couple of weeks right before Thanksgiving, for me, and for a lot of shops, and for general business and retail, this is your prep time. If it's not done by the week of Thanksgiving, it's not going to get done until January sometime. And hopefully you can take an opportunity when people are looking, either selling or off your real estate in your retail store or your real estate on your website. That's another whole thing too. If it's used stuff, get it out there on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Leverage those, because you can drive business, drive units out of your shop. It's all hands on deck getting to generate that, because coming from the cycling industry, going into the big box athletic store business, where they had a huge Black Friday and the dollar of volume. Let's put it this way: a month and a half of sales accommodated 3 months of sales in the summer. You can tap into that too as a bike shop. They're buying. It's out there. You just need to get in front of them and identify that product, move it, make it go somewhere, whatever. You have an opportunity. And on the flip side, as a consumer, there's opportunities to getting something that you're getting ready. Either it's in season for you, for those who are down south, or getting ready for the next season, or trainers. Let's put it this way. I saw listed today on Facebook Marketplace a Eddie Merckx carbon frame bike, not knowing the condition, but with newer 11-speed or 10-speed componentry on it. Didn't look too bad. With a Wahoo kicker. Guess what the price was? $100. Crazy, right? I'm sure one of you in Denver right now is watching this going, oh shit, where is that? I would go down and get it myself. I just don't have time. I have so much to do. So much to do. Hey guys, hope you got some insights on which you have to look out for flats and so forth, between the old school standard tube and tire versus we got some tubeless issues with a spoke that needs to be replaced, and what's all involved with that, that kind of thing. And, bike shops, we're not totally mad about the complicity of it. It's just, it just takes a little more time, and it's going to, in a day, it does cost the customer a little bit more. But regardless, we'll get both cats ready to go, rocking and rolling. And hopefully you got some insights there. Hopefully you got some insights on this is the time to buy. If you're going to buy, if you have opportunity to buy or can buy, and looking for stuff. Also, if you're in the industry portion of it, which I wanted to jump on the coattails of Go Guava. Aaron was talking about inventory and how the market was for him. Some insights of my big box inventory. Put some comments below, questions, any of that nature. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. And if it's nice in your neck woods, please go for a ride. Enjoy this weekend before the weather gets all sorts of weird. Today it's supposed to be 70 something, so I'm gonna go for a ride when I get a chance. But in any case, I'll leave you with this last promo. Have a wonderful day. is brought to you by Medem Bikes, where you can find bicycles that won't break the bank. Great brands like Univega and Vin Diesel, but give you a good quality, safe ride to be able to do those extended rides and get into cycling. You'll find a link below with added savings. Extend that adventure starting now. I don't know if that worked or not. In any case, thanks for hanging out with a bike mechanic trying to do YouTube. And hope you all have a wonderful day. Oh, there's a delay. I don't know if it's live or not. We'll see. He gone all froze up. It must perfect time. Oh, everything froze up. Ooh. Bye-bye. I don't know what happened. It's called live. Okay. Are we ending now? Is it ending? I'm pushing the button. I swear, I'm pushing the button. Gotta talk to IT. The timer's not working anymore. Just too much to handle, doesn't it? Today's show is brought to you by Medem Bikes, where you can find bicycles that won't break the bank. Great brands like Univega and Vin Diesel, but give you a good quality, safe ride to be able to do those extended rides and get into cycling. You'll find a link below.